Hi everyone, welcome to my channel where I review the latest movies and documentaries. Today, I'm going to talk about the Piper movie. If you're interested in this topic, make sure to watch this video until the end and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. As the film begins, we are introduced to a woman named Catherine. She was frantically trying to explain to someone on the phone that she couldn't give them the music notes. You don't understand. The music notes you're asking for are cursed. If someone listens to this music, they will be captured by a demonic entity, a malevolent creature. But whoever was on the other side of the phone was adamant that I want those music notes, and I want to telecast those music notes on the radio. That's why Catherine decides to burn those music notes. Catherine had burned the entire box that contained those music notes, and as she does this, it gets dark, and in this darkness, Catherine sees two shining eyes. These were probably the eyes of the same entity that possessed people who listened to this music. Catherine tries to look at those eyes, but then she hears a voice near her, and that same entity puts Catherine in the same fire that Catherine, and the box in which the music notes were, it closes. As Catherine died, it starts raining heavily here, and because of this rain, those music notes are also saved when the fire on the notes is extinguished, which Catherine wanted to end, but instead, she died. The scene cuts, and we see an orchestra, with our main character, Mallory, also visible. We find out that the owner of the orchestra is the same woman, a friend of Catherine's, who was killed in the fire. Actually, the owner of the orchestra was asking Catherine for those music notes, so that he could play that music on the radio telecast of his orchestra. But even after Catherine's thousands of explanations, he did not understand her words. Now, after Catherine's death, he had to change his plan. Now, he had to compose new music for the radio broadcast, and all the musicians in his orchestra were working diligently towards this goal. When they all left, Mallory comes to this man. She had made some music notes, which she wanted to show her boss, and wanted the music made by her to be radio telecasted. However, her boss finds her music subpar and informs her that he has accepted the music notes from her colleague instead. Hearing this, Mallory becomes sad. The scene cuts, and we see Mallory's daughter, Zoe, who had a slight hearing impairment. Mallory had promised her that she would get her treated by a good doctor, but the problem was that Mallory did not have that much money. So she worked day and night on her music notes, so that her boss would accept her music notes and give her a little bonus. At this time, she had come to talk to her boss about this, but instead of accepting her notes, the boss tells her that he wanted to use the music notes made by Catherine on this radio telecast. But now after Catherine's death, he is helpless. Mallory did not want to lose this chance, so she says to the boss, I can find and bring Catherine's notes, because Catherine was my teacher and I know where she kept her notes. Mallory now goes to Catherine's house for this work, where she meets Catherine's sister. When Mallory tells her that she has come to hear Catherine's music notes from here, Catherine's sister did not let her come home, because she had told her sister that no one would want to get my music notes. Being helpless, Mallory goes to her car and sits, but it was not possible that she would step back from her mission. She wanted those notes somehow, so she secretly goes to Catherine's house to steal those notes from the back door. She had come to the storeroom where Catherine used to keep music notes, and here, she sees someone's shadow in the mirror. Ignoring the shadow, Mallory starts her work and gets those music notes that her boss wanted and which Catherine wanted to burn. Two recorders were also present, containing the music notes which were recorded on them. When Mallory listens to that music, it suddenly gets dark here. Her eyes start shining and she sees strange visions. She was seeing a girl drowning in the lake in her vision. Before she could do anything about it, a crow suddenly crashes against the window here and its voice wakes her up. Mallory picked up the box and took it to her car without wasting time. She wanted to leave immediately, but she discovered that she had forgotten the car keys inside. When Mallory went inside to get the keys, she saw an entity, a creature, standing there in black clothes. Seeing this, she gets scared. Before the creature could act, she quickly sat in her car and drove far away from there. She had now come to her boss with all these music notes. She shows her boss these music notes and says these notes are not complete, but I can complete them because I know that Catherine used to compose her music. Her boss was happy with her work. He also gives her time to complete these music notes. Mallory now starts working on those music notes, and to complete them, she was listening to the music recorded by Catherine. Hearing this music, Mallory started getting visions again. This time, she saw herself in a vision, playing a flute while standing on a hilltop. As her vision ends, Mallory sees that her notes had been completed which she had not written. As she listened to the music, she heard an evil voice in her head. This voice made her wonder who it was and what he was saying. To find answers to these questions, she visited a friend who worked at a digital audio station, and he could clear this voice at the end of the music from his digital audio station. Hearing this music, that man tells Mallory that this music is different. Catherine has designed this music in a wrong way and she did not do it well. The man tells her that in the olden days, it was believed that by playing music in reverse, one could summon evil entities, and by doing this, people used to do black magic. Mallory does not believe what he says and tells him to just do his work. Now we see the scene of Mallory's house where her daughter and her friend were. Zoe's friend here listens to Catherine's music, and after that, he tells Zoe that I don't know why, but while listening to it, I see strange things like some evil spirit. Anyway, these two don't pay much attention to this and start playing again. While playing, this boy sees a ball near him. As he looks up and looks behind this ball, there was a ghost there. A scary ghost standing in black clothes. Seeing this boy was not only scared, but also completely changed, just like this ghost possessed him. That's why that kid played the same music all day with his whistle that Catherine had made. At night, this kid sees a rat sitting under his bed. Behind this rat was a ghost, just like behind the first ball. When he sees this ghost, the kid is completely taken under its control and led away. When his mom comes to check him in the room, he was not there. Afraid of that, she goes to Mallory because she was his friend. Mallory was also worried about the disappearance of that kid. In this worry, they report to the police. The police were also searching for the kid, but for a long time, there was no trace of him. Now, Mallory also felt that there was something about the same music behind his disappearance. That's why she goes to the orchestra and tells her boss the truth, and says Catherine made this music for the kids, but according to the kids, this music is dark. We should not telecast it, but her boss was not going to listen to her. Now she asks her boss for one more day to complete this music, because she also knew that if she did not complete it, then someone else would get this work, and she will not get money. Mallory's colleague whose music had been selected earlier, now he was jealous of seeing Mallory's music being selected. Everyone in the orchestra started playing this music. When Mallory's son was playing this music, blood started coming out of his nose, and after listening to this music, Mallory again sees visions. In this vision, she was seeing the White Mountains. There was a small palace in the middle of the mountains. As she comes out of this vision, she finds out that blood was flowing from her nose. When Mallory searches on it, she finds out that the place she had seen in vision is in Germany, and she found out this from Zoe's book. Zoe's book had a story of a piper. The piper was called by some villagers to flee rats from their village, and in return for this work, the villagers were going to give money to the piper. The piper played the flute there to do his work and drove away all the rats from there. After his work was over, the piper should have got money, but the villagers were cheating him, and they didn't give him any money. In this, the piper got angry and decided that he would destroy the villagers. He would steal their most precious thing. But what could be the most precious thing for a poor villager except for their children? The piper decides to take those children away from them. The piper now plays a music with his flute and takes those children under his control, and then he took them to a lake and killed all of them. Mallory didn't believe in this story at all. She was still completing her music notes, but while doing this, she sleeps. Zoe, Mallory's daughter, now listens to the music of Catherine which Mallory brought. While listening to this, the same ghost appeared behind her, as we have seen many times before in this movie. Before the ghost attacks Zoe, Zoe feels someone behind her. She looks back and the ghost disappears. The next day when Zoe was in school, she sees her ball in a deserted place. It was the same ball that her friend had seen before disappearing. As she went to retrieve the ball, it had now rolled onto a bus while spinning. Now, Zoe gets on that bus after picking up the ball, and she sees the piper sitting on the bus. The piper plays the flute to control Zoe. The music of his flute was so powerful that all the glasses of the bus were broken. Zoe, who couldn't hear anything, was also able to hear this music. Zoe goes to her house and tells her mom everything, and she says, "Maybe I was saved from being possessed because I couldn't hear that music carefully, but my friend also heard this music before disappearing. She told me, Mom." Now Zoe's words were bothering Mallory. When Mallory was doing household chores, she felt someone's presence near her cupboard. As she goes near the cupboard, that thing, that entity, had attacked Mallory. Hearing the noise, Zoe comes out and sees that her mom is playing strange music. The cameras now focus on Mallory's face, revealing that her entire face is black. Her eyes are burning like fire. It means that the evil spirit had completely taken her out of his captivity. It could also have been that the evil spirit Piper is in Mallory's body at this time. In this state, Mallory was frantically busy completing her music notes, and when Zoe comes to stop her, she also pushed Zoe and threw her. Zoe was scared to see her, but instead of going far, she thought of saving her mom. That's why she had torn all the music notes in front of her. As she did this, Mallory came to her senses. The scene shifts to the orchestra, where Mallory's boss is furious at the incomplete state of Mallory's music. Then Mallory's colleague says to his boss, "I can also complete this music, give me some time." Now they were just talking that the running Mallory comes to them and says to them, "No, don't do this. This music is not ordinary." She tells them that these musical notes were not written by Catherine, but were written by some evil spirit, and it could be very harmful to complete it, but these two were not listening to her. Irritated with Mallory, her colleague tells her boss, "I have also completed its ending, and on the radio telecast, we will play this music." On Mallory's refusal again, her boss angrily removes her from the orchestra. Mallory was about to leave when she suddenly sees that her friend, her neighbor, has jumped from the tall building of the orchestra into the nearby lake, because she saw that her son was going from that building and falling into the lake. She wanted to save him, but in reality, she was possessed by the Piper. It wasn't any lake down there, and she fell near the chairs of the orchestra. The Piper possessed her so easily because the music notes made by her were being played here. Mallory goes to the girl to help her. While sitting in the orchestra, she also asks the musicians to help her, but no one came to help her because everyone was lost in the music made by the Piper. Mallory now goes to her friend, who had a recording of music recorded by Catherine. In the last part of the recording, someone's voice was also heard. Mallory's friend had cleared that voice. The language spoken in this voice was Italian, and the meaning of that sentence was, "Bloodshed is my life." Hearing this, Mallory gets even more scared. She tells her friend that you don't want to listen to this music again. Saying this, she comes to Catherine's house, because she had understood that the Piper who is harming and possessing everyone, first wanted to complete his music notes through Catherine and then through Mallory and her orchestra. She also knew that Catherine must have made some notes that are the antidote to these notes, that is, the music notes that can stop Piper. According to the book that Zoe was reading, the villagers had killed Piper, but Piper said that as long as his music is alive, he will keep possessing the children. While reading this, Piper also comes here and possesses Zoe and takes her with him. Here we see that Mallory's friend, despite Mallory's refusal, was able to hear that music again and translate the second part of it, which meant that whoever escapes my trap, I will come to take my revenge again. Here Mallory, who had come to Catherine's house to find the music notes that were stopping Piper, finds Catherine's sister here, who says to her, "Do you think you'll be able to accomplish the work that Catherine hasn't been able to do for the past 50 years? Listen to me, stay away from all this work, otherwise, you will also be in the same state as Catherine." Mallory does not pay attention to her words and wants to find the music notes here, and she finds a lot of musical notes behind the wallpaper. Seeing these notes, Mallory's hope was awakened, but Catherine's sister comes and tells her that there is no antidote to Piper's musical notes. If you can hear Piper's music, it means that he has completely possessed you. Piper had also possessed Catherine. Despite her possession, Catherine kept looking for an antidote to Huss's musical notes, and so everything in her life was ruined. Your life will also be ruined. Listen to me, Mallory, and leave all this work. Mallory does not pay attention to this woman's words this time as well, and she comes to her friend with the notes written on the wall, because she felt that these are antidotes of the Piper's musical notes. She sees that yes, Piper had also possessed her friend and his nose was bleeding. He also wanted to attack his ear and injure himself, but here Mallory saves him, and in the orchestra, Mallory's boss starts playing the same musical notes with his whole team, which belonged to Piper, which she had brought from Catherine. By doing this, Piper comes into a colleague of Mallory sitting here. His eyes start burning and Piper starts possessing everyone sitting here. Mallory had noticed everything, quickly goes backstage and turns off the electricity here, so that people can escape from being possessed, but it was too late now, because Piper, this time, tears his body apart in which he was and emerges from it, and here he kills all the people one by one. After killing people, he picks up the flute and starts playing the same musical notes, with which he used to keep the children under his control. As he plays the music, a magical door opens, and all the children start going inside it. It was Piper's world where he used to keep the children under his control. He used to make them his slaves. Seizing the opportunity, Mallory enters Piper's world and encounters her daughter and her friend. Mallory sees that her daughter was mimicking Piper's gestures. Feeling distressed, she quickly goes and hugs her daughter, removing the hearing device from her ear, so that she can't hear Piper's music anymore and comes out of his possession. Afterward, Mallory brought her daughter out of the same door, rushing away from it as she had entered it. Zoe is seen by Piper running from here. He also comes out to catch her, but Zoe hides somewhere to escape from him. Before Piper could catch Zoe, Mallory seizes a flute and begins playing a new melody by reversing Piper's music notes. This causes Piper immense pain. He starts to suffer. In this suffering, numerous rats emerge from his mouth, devouring him. Slowly, the rats consumed and killed Piper, freeing all the children from his captivity. As they come out of Piper's control, those children come back to their world through Piper's magical door. Among these children, Zoe's friend also emerged, and Piper's door was closed forever. That means finally, Piper's chapter is closed. We all think so, but there is a twist in the story. In the final scene of the story, we see Zoe playing the flute beautifully. She was playing a piece of old music to her teacher at this time. The teacher was also impressed with her music. While playing this music, Zoe's eyes were shining like fire, just like Piper's eyes used to shine. It clearly meant that Piper was not finished yet. He was fully inside Zoe or had possessed her. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about this movie and what other movies or documentaries you want me to review next. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. Thanks for watching and see you next time.